How you doing, folks? This is a request video I got asked to make. So yesterday, I'm sitting in my apartment. Well, I'm asleep, and it's probably about 12:30. No, yeah, well, about 12 o'clock, about noon, sleep. And so I get this text on my phone, and so it's this guy that I had met on YouTube about 3 years ago, about 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, named Jordy DeLonge. And so he lives from, he's from Michigan. And so the city that he lives in was voted #1 best city to live in last year up in Michigan. So anyway, he says, hey, I'm in Ohio. What's your address? So I'm like, oh, all right. So I called him up, gave him my address. He put it in GPS. He said, oh, it's about 140, I guess 140 miles, I don't know. But anyway, so he's at 140. So I don't know if it was 140 miles or an hour and 40 minutes or not. Anyway, so he said he's coming over. So I'm like, all right. So I get up, straighten up a little bit. He shows up, calls me outside. He's outside. I go outside. There's this tall, handsome dude in this real nice sports car out there in his camouflage shirt. And so he comes on in, brings his backpack, and immediately comes in here in my office and pops out his computer and takes out a couple of apparatuses out of his bag. And one of them is this device which has like this plexiglass cover over it with this light in it, you know, and then a whole bunch of like electronic circuits and stuff I saw in there. And so he's like, that's a plasma machine. And see, so before he had got here, I told him, well, you know, I got the flu, so I don't know if you should, you know, come down. He's like, that's all right. I don't worry about it. And I hardly ever get sick. I mean, like, this is the first time I had the flu in like 3 years, you know, whatever, even a cold. So he takes out this thing that you put your hand on, hooks that up to his laptop, and pulls up this real intricate computer program. And so he turns this device on, this plasma machine. I'm like, how much did that thing cost you? He's like, $12,000. I'm like, damn. So I put my hand on this device, and he runs this computer program on my whole body. And it analyzes like every single cell in my body. And so then it takes about, I don't know, we're sitting there talking, it takes about an hour, a little bit over an hour to get all the findings back from the computer program. I got my hand on the top of this device. And then so he starts reading the frequencies, because each and every cell has a frequency. So he's like read every cell and every system in my body, even my endocrine system, my circulatory system, my all my organs, everything. And he said, well, you have a lot of detachment, but, you know, like, because I don't like that. I'm kind of detached. Like, I really don't, you know, give a shit, you know what I'm saying? So I said, yeah, that's just probably a psychological position. And he was like, yeah, well, according to the readings, you're probably right. So anyway, so he's like he's going to cure me of my flu. So he starts running this program, and all of a sudden I start feeling it right here in my neck, and right there in my glands, like, you know, where they're sore at. And it felt like they were drying up or something, you know. And so it went on for about, I guess that went on for about an hour or so. And then I started clearing up my sinuses. Like, I mean, my sinuses literally started clearing up and I could breathe, like right then and there. It was unbelievable. And so he told me that he's used these devices to cure people of different diseases, especially Lyme disease. But he said that they can pretty much, you know, if you can tune into the frequencies and find out what the frequencies of any cell are at their pristine point, then you can adjust the machine to make those cells vibrate back to the way they're supposed to vibrate, and they'll in turn heal themselves. And he's got all kinds of testimonials and years and years of performing this type of work. And his dad's a doctor, but he's certified in using this technology. He's also a certified reseller of this technology. It's called Rife technology, plasma and pulse technology, basically pulse technology for healing. So it's just amazing, you know. I mean, you know, he came down, he had been hunting, and he gets out of his car, he's got a toothpick in his mouth, and got camouflage shirt on, got his high-powered rifle in his trunk, you know. And, it was pretty cool just to get to meet him, you know, and then for him to pop by and drive all the way over down to my house, you know, just so we could, you know, cohabitate a little bit, you know, and chit-chat and stuff. So, and and it was lucky that he showed up, because while we were doing all that, the Bengals, Cincinnati Bengals, were beating the holy crap out of the world champion New York Giants. So see, Jordy was luck. You see, I look at TV, and the Bengals are up like 24 to like 6 against the Giants in the third quarter, because it wasn't on TV. I was like, wow, you know, totally amazing. So I'm gonna put his YouTube, which is On the Med Jedi. Put the link to it in this video. Hey, you go subscribe. You can watch his videos. Now, this guy also has actually made working models of Wilhelm Reich's orgone accumulator. They actually work. He followed the actual mathematics to them and actually created an orgone devices. Okay, now, you know, Wilhelm Reich said that, Dr. Reich said that that all objects have this stuff emanating off of them called orgone. It's an organic object. It has positive energy. If it's an inorganic object, it has negative energy. And you can sit in these devices, these orgone devices, and then when you sit inside of them, you'll accumulate positive energy to your energy field. And it's very good for healing, and very good for health and mental health and physical health and everything like that. And Dr. Reich, when he was alive, he's best known for cloud busting technology. He lived in Maine. He worked for the U.S. Air Force a lot, doing stuff like that. And he also would encounter a lot of different UFOs while he was doing his cloud busting technology. But the cloud buster actually worked. Dr. Reich, one of the most interesting things about Dr. Reich to me was that Sigmund Freud said that about 50% of all neurosis was tied to sexual repression and dysfunction. And Carl Jung, who was smarter than Sigmund Freud, said that about 75% of all neurosis was tied to sexual repression and dysfunction. And then Dr. Reich said that 100% of all neurosis is tied to sexual repression and dysfunction. And he said that the mental illness that people have is really society's desire to have one big orgasm. That's pretty interesting. And he said that the culprit behind sexual repression and dysfunction, mental illness, was religion, in that it repressed people's natural inclinations as sexual beings, their natural experiences that they wanted to have. So that's pretty interesting, I think. But anyway, Jordy DeLonge, who came to my house yesterday, actually made a working model of a orgone accumulator, and he even has a video on his page where he went to this guy's house who was 101. The guy cut his own grass, lived by himself, got around just fine, had a great mind. It was working fine. The guy could even lift stuff and carry it around his house. 101 years old. And this guy, this man, sat in his own orgone accumulator that he had for years. He sat in it every day for like a half hour. Very interesting. So anyway, I'm making this video by request from Jordy DeLonge. And so you can go to his YouTube site, subscribe, watch his videos, and watch how the pulse technology and plasma devices are able to perform healing on human as well as animal organisms. So there you go.